Shalini, how are you?
I'm good, Angie. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited that we're going to be doing this group coaching cohort together for federal leaders. It's so great to be working with you.
Same.
Um, and so I know that we just wanted to have an opportunity to share a little bit about ourselves and what's important to us in coaching and why we're doing this group coaching cohort. So we're just going to ask each other a few questions just to talk a little bit about what we're doing and why.
That sounds awesome. So hopefully if you're out there listening, this will give you more of a sense of who we are and what the program is.
Awesome. Well, Shalini, I'm going to kick things off and I'm going to ask you a little bit about you. So I know one of the things that we would both love is for people to understand a little bit more about us, what makes us tick. And you have been a federal leader. You've had your own federal service. You've been coaching and training for the past 5 years. And I'm just curious, what should federal leaders know about you and how you approach your coaching work?
What's important to know about me is I am a leader who's been there. So I grew up in the federal service. I went from being an intern to a presidential management fellow to eventually being in a senior executive service. And then pivoted my career into coaching, training, and development, really to support the federal sector because I realized that um, I needed a different level of support when I was coming up in my career. And really the my purpose and mission is to help make it easier for people in federal service to feel more supported and to be better able to serve. So that's why I do what I do. And this program is a perfect way to blend those passions. Angie, you have spent more than 2 decades in federal service doing some incredibly challenging and difficult things. You've recently pivoted to the world of coaching, which we welcome you in. Can you tell me a little bit about what shaped your thinking about leadership and what's needed to support leaders right now?
Thanks, Shalini. You know, I've also been in the federal service for a long time, over 20 years as a federal leader, and I just left. Really, it was back in May that I decided to shift also to coaching. And one of the things that I experienced while being in a federal leadership role was just the level of uncertainty and complexity that leaders are facing today. And I think that crosses all sectors, but I think it's really clear to me in the federal service that that's a constant throughout their work and how easy it can be to get stuck in that. You know, you feel like decisions can slow down. You're just not able to move forward because you don't necessarily know what's next. And for me personally, and one of the reasons I went into coaching is because I found that if I could step out of that, even just for a short period of time, it could help me be grounded and try to get the clarity that I needed to be able to move forward. And I just think that space is so important, that stepping out and just spending a few minutes to think about things differently and figure out what can ground you. What was it, your values? What other things are important to you that will help you take those steps forward?
So, speaking of coaching, some people might not be familiar with group coaching. Can you tell me a little bit about how group coaching is different than training or other types of development?
I really love the concept of group coaching because I think it's so different than what a lot of people experience. It's different from training. It's not just giving information to people like training. And it's different from this one-on-one experience of coaching, of partnering directly with a coach, because it does a couple things. One, it helps to create this sense of community, which I think is really important, right? There's other people that are going through similar challenges and issues. And to be able to share, create an environment where people can really share their experiences with one another, and be able to use the coaches, you and I, in that environment to help create an environment where everyone can be able to say what's important to them, and we can kind of bring the resources to the coaching cohort that they need. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your experience in group coaching specifically, and especially what have you seen happen when leaders engage in group coaching together?
I love that question. And I love what you said about group coaching. There's so much power in the reframe, in being able to step out of your current perspective and the way you look at your current situation and see it from a different lens. And the magic in group coaching that I've seen happen comes when that group sets the agenda together, figures out where they want to go together, and then uses their collective wisdom and the trust and supportive environment created in group coaching to figure out their individual and collective way together. It almost feels like really being witness to not only community being created, actual magic happening, right? Which leaves federal leaders better able to go back into their day jobs and do what they signed up to do, which is deliver for the American people with renewed energy and literal support, that you are not in it alone.
I love that sense of magic, Shalini. I love it. We're going to be creating some magic along the way.
I
And
think people
so
need a little magic right now.
we do need a little magic, absolutely. So if someone joins this cohort, what can they expect this experience to feel like?
Our intent, and I think I speak for both of us, is our intent for people is that people will feel supported, that they will feel in community, they will feel supported, and hopefully we open up this space that people can feel a little bit brave and vulnerable and trusted. They will give trust and receive trust. And so at the end of the day, people will leave feeling more empowered and resilient. I think that's the environment we want to create. What did I miss? What do you want to add to that?
No, I think that's so true. And I think clarity, right? When where there is uncertainty, to help create that clarity. And I think from that comes momentum and action, right? And again, I keep going back to this sense of stuckness. I think if you feel that support and that resilience, then you get momentum from that and you're able to move forward in a way that's really true to yourself and who you are. And I think that's the power of this type of work.
And I think that's the way that what group coaching has in common with individual coaching, right? Is it is not just reflection for reflection's sake. It's about reflection leading to action. It's about actually living your life differently.
Yeah. It's forward looking, and I think that's something that maybe some people miss about coaching in general. It's really about how that forwardness of how you look to where you want to go in the future and how you move through that.
Angie, what do you hope people walk away with at the end of the cohort?
Um, I think that what we were just talking about, I mean, and I think with that is, I think that folks, I hope, will also have these lasting connections, because when you do this work together, this is going to be 6 2-hour sessions over a period of months. I think if you're really being able to be brave in those spaces, you form this connection that's really important right now. And again, I think that's why group coaching to me is so much value in addition to regular coaching, because that connection is so needed today. None of us are alone in the challenges that we face. And knowing that, I think, is really, really And experiencing that is really important.
And just a
Um,
little, can I just add a logistical note,
sure.
which is sessions will take place not during business hours. We will work with the cohort to figure out a mutually agreeable time, either in an evening or weekends, just to be able to meet people where they are, recognizing you might not be able to take 12 hours out of your workday to be able to do this.
Yeah, thanks for noting that, Shalini. And so my final question for you is if someone is listening and they're wondering whether this is for them, what would you say to them?
I would offer a couple questions back, which is what's the best thing that could happen if you signed up? And what's the worst thing that could happen? And if you're still on the fence, reach out and get to know us. We've got some open office hours coming up. You can email us, ask us any questions. And yeah, Angie, anything you want to add to that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, uh, I am really looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a great opportunity to really create some community within the federal family and federal workers, and really looking forward, Shalini, to working with you and collaborating with you along this pathway. I do hope that if you have any questions, that folks please reach out, ask us questions, learn more. We will have office hours next week where you can join and meet us and ask any additional questions that you have. We will be starting the second week of April, so it's going to be important for you to go ahead and sign up. We'll collect a little bit more information about you and what's important to you and get started. So, Shalini, thanks for joining me today to talk about this, and I look forward to working with you again in a couple of weeks.
I very much look forward to working with you again too.
Thanks, Shalini.
Thanks.